Prepare for the loading screen that will be your mind exploding from amazing gaming news. Are you expecting this? I bet you're not. Oh, let's do this.
Hello and welcome to another exciting season of Respawn TV. I'm your host Evan Zant, and this is your source for gaming and tech news. Let's start things off with this week's up-and-coming releases. You can look forward to seeing these titles and many more released throughout the month on your favorite platforms. This week's releases are Air Conflicts Double Pack for the PS4, September 20th. Criminal Girls 2 Party Favors for the PS Vita, September 20th. Dear Esther Landmark Edition for the Xbox One and PS4, September 20th. Destiny Rise of Iron for the Xbox One and PS4, September 20th. Destiny The Collection, Xbox One, PS4, September 20th. Jazzpunk for the PS4, September 20th. Killer Instinct Definitive Edition for the Xbox One, September 20th. NBA 2K17 for the Xbox One, PS4, Xbox 360, PS3, and PC, September 20th. Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters Daybreak Special Gigs for the PS4, PS3, and PS Vita, September 20th. Wheels of Aurelia for the PC, also September 20th. Agenda for the PC, Mac, and Linux on September 21st. And Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade for the PC, September 23rd. Keep tuned in each week to get news on up-and-coming release dates for new and exciting games. Now let's throw it over to Mackenzie Doherty with Fresh from the Steamer.
Hey guys, it's Mackenzie Doherty and welcome to Fresh from the Steamer. We're going to be talking about a game called Project High-Rise, which released September 8th on Steam. Now, the aim of the game is to build and develop world-famous skyscrapers that are masterpieces. Not only is it about building these actual skyscrapers, but it's keeping the flow of work inside it with the people and businesses. Now, on the home screen, there's a mods button which can affect the offices, builds, character types for the mods as well. In the scenario, you can change the scenario mode, which you also do have to get some medals for it in order to be able to unlock them. For every new game a player starts, it randomly generates the name of a building, or it'll generate an address for the building, which can be changed at any point. There are also 4 difficulty levels affecting starting cash, economy of the area, how easy it is to get loans, and how expensive those loans will be to repay. The player can also change the lot size of their building. Now, there is a maximum height a player can build, so they can either go really narrow or tall, or short and squat. Now when we get into the game, the style is a little more 2D effect with no real shading, so it's very, very simplistic and minimalistic. And you can check out the maximum height and buildable area for the game. There are also so many different map overlays, so you can check out everything else. There are a variety of ways to check out your budget and different resources, and the computer for your actual budget looks very 1980s-ish, so helps kind of go with the style of the game, very minimalistic, kind of seems like an older thing. Now, buzz is the popularity, and the influence comes from apartment residents and some types of the offices that are in the building. This can help unlock certain items in the game. Now the player can build unconnected, but it still counts as the same first building, so you still only have a certain height you can go to. Each segment of the building costs $10, and that'll go higher the taller you go or the further down you go. And when you do build, you have to build stairs or an elevator in order for your people to get up and down, although fire escapes are already included in there. There are pop-ups that come into the game to give advice and details about what's going on and how you can kind of advance the game a little more. There are different utilities you have to connect, mostly the electricity, so that way you are able to have power for the entire building. Overall, this game looks like a lot of fun, and it's definitely very minimalistic, but it's for people who love to build scenarios and want to try and succeed in the area. Thank you for watching. This is Mackenzie Doherty, and now back to Respawn.
Thanks, Mackenzie. The new campaign for Dungeons & Dragons, Storm King's Thunder, released September 6th, so prepare for new and exciting adventures with your buddies. This 256-page adventure is for characters level 1 through 11 and up, and equips your dungeon master with everything he or she needs to create an exciting and memorable story. Storm King's Thunder takes place in a world of giants and introduces floating castles that have suddenly appeared over some major D&D cities, like Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate. The Storm King, Hekaton, who is supposed to be in charge of all the giants, is missing, and now it's up to you and your party to save the world. Storm King's Thunder can be purchased for $49.95, and for those of you who are more digitally inclined, the free-to-play D&D MMO Neverwinter is available from Perfect World for PC, PS4, and Xbox One with the same thing. We will continue after some commercials, but first here is New Game Plus by Trevor Watson.
What's up, Respawners? This is Trevor Watson, and you're watching New Game Plus, where I'll take you through some of the greatest games I've ever played in my childhood. This week's game is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, which was developed by Dimps and published by Atari Bandai for the PS2 in November of 2004. This is a 3D fighting game based off the anime Dragon Ball Z, and you get to play as many of the heroes and villains from the show, all voiced by their original cast. This game has a single-player campaign, where you can go through the stories of many of the current heroes to unlock new characters, skills, and maps. Brush up on these characters in the training and practice room, and then you can take them up against your friends in the versus mode, or in the tournament mode, where you can earn prize money to buy more skills, where you can go to the skill editor and customize all of your fighters, which gives you a round-robin list of modes that you can go through back and forth to become the most skilled player at this game. Many of the staples of the fighter genre, including punch and kick buttons, combination moves, and special finishers, are all included, but there are several new mechanics based off the show, such as character transformations, aerial combat, teleportation counters, and move clashes. These are just a few examples of how the game tries to bring the feeling of the show into the player's hands. While the show was in 2D animation, the game uses 3D cell shading, and the graphics are some of the best you'll ever find on the PlayStation 2. But if you feel that this is a bit too outdated for the time, there's always an HD remaster for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. One thing I applaud this game for is its low skill floor and its high skill ceiling. This means that a new player can pick up the controller and learn it really easily. But they'll take a lot of time looking into skills and getting used to characters in order to become a pro. I've been playing for over a decade, and I can only guarantee about 5 or 6 characters that I have proficiently learned. I haven't even touched about 30% of the cast, so there's a lot more that I can still learn. However, I am more than capable of beating anybody with my top 2, Goku and Teen Gohan. You want to throw down? I'll throw down. The only real bad thing I can say about this game, which is something I can say about every fighting game, is that it's a lot of repetitive gameplay. You're not going to find anything different than what you've seen on screen so far. Just constant punching and kicking. But if that's your preference, then it's a perfect game for you. This was New Game Plus with Trevor Watson. You're watching Respawn TV. See y'all next week.
Welcome back to Respawn TV. I'm your host, Devin Van Zant, and you just saw Trevor's pack, New Game Plus. Samsung is literally exploding in the news again after a 6-year-old Brooklyn boy suffered severe burns when one of the recalled Galaxy Note 7 smartphones exploded in his hands. According to the report from his grandmother, the boy was just sitting watching videos on the phone when the battery exploded and burst into flames. The company has released warnings about the phone overheating and exploding and has issued a recall. Since the beginning of this month, there have been at least 35 Galaxy Note 7 users reporting their phones catching on fire, worrying that their homes could have caught fire as well. Unfortunately for Samsung, the recall is going to cost them around $1 billion. Be safe, Samsung users. Up next, check out my pack, Played by Ear. What's up, guys? I'm Devin Van Zant, and welcome to Played by Ear, the show where we take a look at the oft-overlooked aspect of games, the soundtrack. This week, we'll be kicking things off with a video game classic, Mega Man. Specifically, we're going to take a look at Mega Man 2 and 3, my favorite games in the series, and, not by coincidence, the games that I think have the best composing. Mega Man 2 was composed by Takashi Tateishi with a little help from the original Mega Man's composer, Manami Matsume, both of whom would later go on to compose for Mighty No. 9, the game considered to be Mega Man's spiritual successor. Mega Man 3 was initially composed by Harumi Fujita, but she only completed 2 songs before giving birth and handing the project over to Yasuake Fujita. Both of these games open strong with an energizing opening theme. My favorite of the two has been playing in the background. Now let's take a listen to Mega Man 2's opening. Possibly Mega Man 2's most famous song is Dr. Wily's theme. It's been subject to constant remixes over the years, and it's not hard to hear why. This sort of thing is what makes Mega Man's music so great. Despite their limited NES sound palette, composers were able to make iconic songs that create a sense of heroism and urgency, sucking the player into the game and creating an immersion beyond the 8-bit artwork. And that's what soundtrack is really all about, adding an extra layer of power to the player. I'm Devin Van Zant, and this was Played by Ear. Now let's close by listening to one of my personal favorites from Mega Man 3, the ever-mysterious Proto Man's theme. That wraps up our first segment. Please stay tuned for Project Delta. Respawn TV and Delta air each week, Monday through Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. And you can watch our content online at facebook.com/respawn8 and on YouTube by searching Respawn TV. Now it's time for a quick commercial break. Please stay tuned for more Respawn. Hello and welcome to an exciting new season of Project Delta. I'm Devin Van Zant, your host, and I'm here with my buddy Steven Spire.
It's great to be back.
And we are playing Hyrule Warriors this week.
Yep. And on this one, you're going to be just seeing his screen. My screen is actually going to be on the Wii U gamepad, so I'm going to be looking down most of the time. But you can see me, I'm playing as Ganon.
Here, I'll look at you real quick. There he is, Ganon, working with Zelda.
The way it should be. Teamwork! Woo! But in this is one of the adventure mode quests where you have to defeat a certain number of enemies within a time limit.
Ooh, cutscene.
Yep, and that's one of the bosses that you'll have to fight. There are several different bosses. Each one of them actually each character sort of drops their own unique material. Well, everything that has an HP bar anyways. And you can use that to actually get badges, which will enable you to do more things and get stronger. Like Weak Point Smasher, which is what I'm using on the Goma right now, while he's going around fighting enemies.
Enemies with health bars.
Hmm.
I am not useless. I'm just mostly useless. There's poison all over the ground over here. That's interesting.
Yeah, for those things you'll want to actually use your bow and arrow in order to get rid of them. That's the only way to actually make them go away. But
And I missed.
yeah, you can lock on to it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Too bad I can't fire anything. So
Well,
this
that's
is
because
like
you've got it on bombs right now.
Oh, well, there you go.
If you switch over to bow and arrow, then you can actually just fire it at them.
Ba-doom, ba-doom. Wow, that didn't take long at all. I am a genius. So this is like a crossover between, this is like a Dynasty Warrior style Legend of Zelda game, which
Yes.
I didn't realize there was demand for, but when it got announced, everybody was super excited.
Yeah, a lot of people refer to this game as the crossover we never knew we wanted.
There you go.
But the story revolves around, well, there's this girl named Sia, and she sort of starts a war because she's been taken over by the dark spirit Ganon. And she actually split off into two people. One of the characters you'll actually meet. You can actually play as a large variety of characters from the Zelda universe, which is really nice of them.
This game is really pretty.
Yeah, it is.
I like the graphics.
Yeah, especially since it's got a lot to load up because it's got every single enemy has its own AI, and on top of that, there are literally thousands of enemies on the field all at once, and it has to keep track of what every single one of them is doing. You'll actually have teammates as well, and those teammates can actually help fight, although most of the time you'll be spent rescuing them and playing babysitter.
The old companion quest.
Yeah, as most, I guess, Dynasty Warriors games would probably go. There's 3 levels of weapons for every single character. Some characters have multiple weapons that you can unlock as well. Like, the weapons that I'm using right now are actually the stage 3 of Ganon's weapon. He's only got the 1 stage though. Right now what I'm doing is doing a weak point smash. Oh, we both did a weak point smash on him.
Combo.
That was nice.
I foiled the enemy's plan.
Yep.
I'm like Scooby-Doo with a sword.
Never heard Zelda actually being referred to as Scooby-Doo.
Just a meddling kid. I gotta say, it was kind of brave of them to go back to the motion controls after they were so like ridiculed in Skyward Sword. But it does not work very like it's fine. It is not.
Well, that's only for 2-player. For if you're just doing it by yourself, which most people will be, you just use the gamepad, which doesn't use motion controls. You just do button presses. Yours only has motion controls because it doesn't have enough buttons to actually be able to do all the commands. So they actually implemented the motion controls as your regular attack, which was pretty creative of them.
I am one step closer to controlling Hyrule. Whose team am I on?
You're on my team, of course.
As usual, Steven is the villain of our story.
No, but basically, through adventure mode, which is the game type that we're playing right now, Basically, anybody could be on any side at any one time, and sometimes they'll actually trade sides sometimes, which is rather interesting of them. Oh, nope, don't want to get rid of that one. Well, as you can see, there's a wide variety of them. There's different levels. Like this is Zelda's first weapon, her starting weapon, and you can see that even at 4 stars, which is pretty high. I believe that the highest they can get is 5 stars. But then just the base attack of her next leveled one is higher than whatever this one can actually be. So it's best to try and unlock the stronger versions of the weapons and then try and get them with as many stars as possible. So that way you can do as much damage. And these are the materials that you can get. Materials, like I said before, are used to make badges to make your character stronger, be able to take hits better. Some of them are kind of hard to get, like the gold ones are only dropped by bosses, and that's very rarely. But they can also drop weapons as well, which is rather annoying when you're trying to farm for pieces and you actually wind up just getting a weapon instead, because you'll then have to start the entire battle all the way over again, which is a little annoying. Make sure you press that.
Oh, yeah. Let's get me in on this.
Yeah.
Let's be my girl Medley.
There's a wide variety of. Some weapons actually have sealed abilities that you'll actually have to defeat a certain number of enemies in order to actually unlock. But some of those are actually really good, like a hasty attack actually makes you attack faster. Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
I said go. I like that they've kind of embraced the fact that Zelda has a lot of different art styles and a lot of different storylines and things. They're just kind of like, just put them all in. Everybody likes them.
In this game type, be very careful because one hit will put you down to 1 HP, like how I just had. I'm now down to 1/4 of a heart. These ones, a really good trick to use is to equip the bow and arrow and just shoot them from afar. Is something that I've found that's really useful.
Well, thanks for joining us this week on Project Delta. You can catch us every week at 8 p.m. And thanks for checking out Hyrule Warriors with us.
It's for the Wii U. It's a lot of fun.
Bye-bye.